This is what we do here. We get a short haircut, I say I'm gonna forge onward, we forge onward, new hairdo, let's go. What's up everyone, I'm Matt Forio. I have new hair, I think I'm gonna stick with it. Who cares? Alright, let's go. We have Animal Crossing vs. The Sims, Epic Rap Battle Parodies. When I first heard that they were doing two video game franchises with very obscure character iterations, I was very skeptical. When I heard it was going to be live action, I was even more skeptical. However, it was somehow pulled off with aplomb, and I'm very proud to be part of the lyrical aspect of it. So this is usually how things work. People whom I don't know write the rap battles. I look at them, I delete almost everything they write, and then I rewrite the rap battle. That's usually how chiseling goes, and that's pretty much what I did here. I only kept like 2 lines from the original, and we'll get to that later when we look at the original for the second time. But for now, here we have the angry Sim starts off the battle. The angry Sim is a bit confused as to what the villagers are. They look like humans, but they're too rotund and kinda awkwardly shaped to actually be humans. Not only do villagers hug trees to receive coins, items, and bees' nests occasionally, but the Sims are accusing them of being tree huggers or overly environmentally concerned. The angry Sim cannot believe that these people are trying to rustle their leaves. Rustling leaves being an idiom for starting a fight. The energetic Sim and the angry Sim here in the next line both poke fun at the mute nature of villagers. Villagers are not seen speaking in any form, not even making grunting noises in Super Smash Bros. So the angry Sim says that there's no reason for them to try to rap against them because the Sims will use their overly developed and well-adapted language to completely demolish the non-existent language of the villagers. Now, in the lyrics, it said, we'll use Simlish to Simlish word you upstream. I left it like that so that either the producer or the recorder could pick a Simlish word of their choice to substitute that with in the battle. It's a mockery of the phrase to F someone up or screw someone up sideways, but instead we do upstream because villagers have a stream that runs throughout their entire village. Now, the funny thing about this is that in the lyrics, we have a Google document and all the contributions are made on there. So when I chisel it, I add my comments and I put certain things in different colors to say, do this, make sure this visual happens with this line so that it makes sense. Because I make these videos after the videos come out, therefore it would be redundant for me to explain, do this in this part when the video is already done. So I wrote Simlish word with asterisks and in red. And I'm not bashing you for this because this is quite hilarious. Justin actually said, we'll Simlish word you upstream, and didn't put in a Simlish word. So what Xander did was he just reversed that part and, you know, mix it up a little bit to make it sound like it was just like, you know, what's he saying? You know, Simlish is in English, so it doesn't make any sense. But the actual thing that he did say there was Simlish word you upstream. Energetic Sim follows up with,
let me query these queers, arrange your face towards how we feel ya. Corrupt through like your town with an ordinance for zoophilia.
Now in Animal Crossing, at the very beginning of the game, the player character takes a survey to determine what his villager or her villager will look like. The energetic Sim here is taking the role of the surveyor, saying that he's gonna query these queers to find out what their face is gonna look like, except his version of querying is to beat them up, and he's gonna rearrange their face towards how he feels towards them. Query these queers, arrange your face towards how I feel to you. I feel that you guys are worthless, disgusting, scum of the earth, so we're gonna beat you up. That's how I feel about you, and I'm gonna rearrange your face depending on where my fist goes and how it pushes your nose or discombobulates your eyes in any way. It's just another extended metaphor saying, I'm gonna beat you up. And a lot of rap battles that we see just come out and say that. Yeah, I'm gonna beat you up, and I'm like, okay, substance please. Would you rather have a pound cake or cake decorated in frosting with a bunch of swirly things and a cherry on top? They're both cake, but there's one that's prettier, and if you take all the stuff off of it, the same meaning is still there as the regular pound cake, but it's just that much better. And some people may say that I'm too unnecessarily verbose, that I use too many big words and that means that I'm not intelligent. Again, what do people want to watch? Do people want to watch me talk about a cake? Do people want to watch me talk about a cake that has all this stuff on it with a cherry on top? The same meaning is still there, okay? Like, alright. Now the next part of that line is corrupt you like your towns with an ordinance for zoophilia. Now being a video game, corruption of the cartridge or software is notoriously possible. The double meaning for the word corrupt involves how a governmental system can be politically corrupt, either dictating to the constituents based on personal bias or failure to economically prosper. The Sim is saying that he will corrupt them like their towns are corrupted. In this case, they're corrupted with an ordinance for zoophilia. In Animal Crossing New Leaf, the player character is the mayor of the town and can enforce one of few ordinances onto the town. This ordinance will set a general theme for the town and produce results accordingly. For example, one can opt to have the Bell Boom ordinance, and then everything in the town will sell for, but also cost more bells. The Sim says that the ordinance in their town that he is witnessing is one for zoophilia, because the player villager is the only human native to the villager towns. All of the other villagers are iterations of different animals, so it is to be assumed that if the player villager were to spark a relationship with any of the other villagers, it would be considered zoophilia or sexual fixation on animals. Yeah, we go there.
I would do this later, procrastinating to beat 'em, but I could be a better mayor just sleeping in your museum.
The lazy Sim participates in what I call a self-observed line, which is a line that occupies space that basically says, this is the kind of character that I am, this is something that I would say. It's like a surfer saying, dude, the lazy Sim says something that a lazy Sim would say, but also it has to relate to the subject matter, and this is how. He says that if he were to procrastinate, the procrastination within itself would be his method of defeating the villagers, saying that the villagers' raps are as effortless as his procrastination is. Seeing how lazy he is, he could be a better mayor of the town just sleeping in the museum. Now in Animal Crossing, a nocturnal owl named Blathers is the museum's curator, and he can be found sleeping in most hours of the day. The comparison here is that there's a character who effectively sleeps all day in Animal Crossing, and the similar characteristic is evident in the lazy Sim. Basically, he's saying, you can't be mayor, I could be a better mayor in my sleep. It's one of those things, like, oh, I could be better. All of these things are saying, I'm better than you suck, you were this, you were that, but you put all this fluff on top of it, and different connections, and they lace over here, and they form spider webs and Christmas trees and whatever you want to call them, but all of it is connections that bring something full circle into the rap battle. Following To Beat 'Em and Museum, the artistic Sim draws an artsy rhyme out of this complex rhyme scheme. He uses the word onomatopoeia as a verb and then says onomatopoeia, like we'll onomatopoeia them, but onomatopoeia, combination of words. It shows how artsy the artsy Sim is, like combining the words to make a new one that just flusters the villagers and the viewers. By onomatopoeia, he means words that express sounds like buzz, sizzle, etc. Simlish can be attributed to both onomatopoeia and interjections, as they both just recreate sounds that are provoked from a reaction. There's no substance to it. It's just like, oh, like, like Zorb, to be, ooh, like, they don't mean anything. They're just provoked from something that happens within the game. And therefore, that has both characteristics of an onomatopoeia and an interjection. So we just follow the rhyme scheme and stick with onomatopoeia. The energetic Sim gives some examples of these words. The artsy Sim would opt to painting the villagers' noses red, but since they already are red, he will resort to more drastic measures and beat them up and make their noses bleed. In doing so, the Sims would turn over a new leaf, meaning 3 different things. One is an obvious reference to the game, Animal Crossing New Leaf. The second meaning is that the Sims will overturn the game New Leaf, mocking the amount of sales it has worldwide, 7 million, with the Sims way above that across all their platforms. Obviously 7 million isn't bad, but this is about making things that may not be bad seem as bad as possible. That's what a rap battle is. And the third meaning is that the Sims will resort to utter violence, something that they've never tried before. To turn over a new leaf is to start anew, to start fresh, do something different as opposed to what you've been doing. The Sims will turn over this new leaf by starting a career of destroying little villagers through rap. Next is the villagers.
Welcome to our wild world, Sims, here we go! Need to pocket your pool ladder to drown you worth of fun!
The happy-go-lucky nature of the villager kicks off the verse with a reference to the game Animal Crossing Wild World. Now, a common joke in the Sims community, and as also evident with the announcer at the end, is that you can drown a Sim by putting them in a pool and then removing the ladder from which they got into the pool with. The villagers have a special trait, specifically emphasized in Super Smash Bros., to pocket items and save them for later. The villager is saying that he won't have to pocket the pool ladder in order to drown them out, because his flow is so impeccable and liquefied that it will do the drowning for him. The flow flow is always compared to water. It's almost interchangeable with the currents in the stream of water and the quality of a rap syllabic meter.
Town tuning out your shitty simulated committees. If you can't dig it, we got treaties that'll keep you in your city.
In Animal Crossing, one can create a town tune which plays in different pitches and sound fonts depending on who the villager is talking to. Every time a conversation is initiated, this little town tune plays. To tune out is another way of saying to not listen to. They will tune out, not listen to, and shut down the simulated committees in which the Sims form. If the Sims can't dig it or like what the villagers are going to do, then they will have to be removed from the town. The villagers give them the option of a peace treaty that will allow the villagers to declare dominance but also allow the Sims to run away and go back to their city. The ongoing theme of the line is that the villagers' town is better than the Sim city. It's all about drawing comparisons between the two parties.
We got similar roots, but we can rip raw weed. What's the strippy up with this is like a pitfall seed.
Alright, hold on for this one. The games have similar roots, meaning that they have similar ideas behind them. To create a community of your liking through complete customization and interaction with artificial intelligence. That's the basis of both Animal Crossing and The Sims. And that's basically why they're rap battling each other, because of that similarity. Acknowledging this, the villager says that they do have similar roots, but roots also meaning plant roots, which is what they rip out of the ground when they pull weeds. Now, the pitfall seed is a pretty popular item in Animal Crossing, even making an appearance in Smash Bros. The item takes the appearance of a buried item, and if walked on top of, the player falls into a pitfall. But tripping is also a mechanic in Animal Crossing. If the villager keeps tripping when they walk or run, it means that they have bad luck that day. Something about feng shui or the clarity of your town or something, I don't know. I trip all the time in my game. The villager says that going up against them will bring them bad luck, and they will trip them up with it.
Imagine Sim City spin-offs till they're blue in the war. Now I suggest you take a seat before we move it to the door.
This next line is an extended reference, so make sure you pay attention to this. Sim City is a spin-off game of The Sims where you can build your own city, kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon or Zoo Town, or whatever that's called. Zoo Pals, those are plates, never mind. The villagers accuse The Sims of being a spin-off of their own game because of the similar roots thing again, saying that they're better. They do this by referencing The Sims' own spin-off game. This is also a jab at how the name Sim City sounds like and could be inspired by the movie Sin City, which utilizes a noir-style lighting. Noir style involves very dark shadows and black textures, almost cartoonish, like a comic book type thing. The villagers will smash The Sims until they are blue and noir. Noir like the movie they copied off of, or blue and black. Black and blue. Okay, something that I don't understand and something that I didn't do in my demo is the interjection of the "what are you talking about?"
Move it to the door.
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and say that there was a reason that you did this, but if there wasn't, then I'm gonna explain why it shouldn't have been done like that. And this applies to all people who do the same kinds of things. I just want to explain this to you, so hopefully it just clears this whole cloudy sky of what you should and shouldn't do when choreographing a battle. If the purpose was to have the angry sim interrupt the villager, it should have been choreographed into the battle. For example, the villager could have had a shorter ending line that delivers the same message while the angry sim still had time to cut him off, but the villager was able to get to the point that he needed to get to. What I'm saying is that an interruption could have happened, but it didn't have to overlap with the verse. He could have said, "So take a seat before we move it to the door," and then "what are you talking about" came out of there. You know, but since it was that long, and the "what are you talking about" came literally halfway into that line, it just cut him off in a way that did an injustice to the battle. Also, I don't understand why "what are you talking about" took priority over the villager's last line. "What are you talking about" has no weight to either side of the battle. It's just a generic phrase. It needs to pertain heavily to the subject matter. Now, I understand the concession that the angry sim is just being an angry sim and he's spewing out random words and phrases that he might say, and then he's just showing off his angry nature by interrupting the villager. I get that, alright? But, again, there's a choreographed way to do that, and the battle has no injustice done onto it. I'm not mad at anyone, because again, if this is your battle, I'm not part of it, I just helped write it, so I am eligible to give my critiques and constructive criticism. What I'm saying is that if an interruption wanted to happen, I would have written it into the battle so nobody got cut off.
Ironic, your failure is handheld.
Not only is he poking at the AC series moving towards the handheld and then claiming that it failed there, but he uses the word ironic because the villagers have spoons for hands. And it would be ironic to have anything held in their hands, given that they don't have opposable thumbs.
Looking through nooks and crannies, just trying to ring a bell.
Quadruple entendre alert, pay attention. One of the names of Tom Nook stores. 2. To look through nooks and crannies is to search through every last corner in order to find something. What they are searching for is 3. A bell to ring or money to cash in. In Animal Crossing, bells are what the currency is. But the biggest meaning is number 4. The accusation is that the villagers are just looking around searching for the stupidest things to say just to find something that's worth dissing them with. Pulling out the stupidest connections and weakest punchlines in an effort to ring a bell, meaning to make sense to someone or have someone understand the line. He's saying that the villagers are failing at making the Sims feel inferior, and every one of their dishes is unorthodox and just doesn't ring a bell to him. That, my friends, is how you reference something within the battle and make it clever. I could have said, this battle's gonna cost you all your bells, or, spend all your time at nooks and crannies. But we have those 2 connections, and they're brought together with 4 different meanings in one line.
Let's take it to the streets. We'll see who's talking.
To take it to the streets is fighting in an uncontrolled and uncivilized environment with no rules or guidelines. Having no restrictions, the Sims want to beat the villagers up so bad, so let's take it to the streets. We'll see who's talking. We'll see who's talking after we beat you up, like we'll see who's saying bad things about us now. The Sims will beat them up so bad that the villagers will have to reconsider the things they're saying to them. The double meaning with take it to the streets hints at the next line.
You're more or less of a threat than an actual Animal Crossing.
They parody the name Animal Crossing and compare it to a street sign of an Animal Crossing. Something like, watch for ducks, or turtles are nearby. This is barely a threat to drivers on the road, as it only implies that animals may or may not be near the area. They are easily brushed off, just like the villagers.
We're axing sacks and knapsack in the wind.
We're axing saps and knapsack in the we're axing naps. Rhyme scheme accompanied by another pocket reference. In Smash, the villager was often joked to be an axe assassin murderer with a constant smile on his face.
You wanna be like us, then I'll make you my sim.
The My Sims spin-off series of The Sims saw cartoonish-like characters that strongly resemble the shape and looks of the villagers. Now that you know this, the meaning of the line is obvious, but there's also a second underlying meaning. If I were to make someone my B-word, they would be my slave, forever beneath me, succumbing to my orders, right? It's a common insult that takes the form of my sim instead of my B-word.
It's PC verse 3D, you're stuck in 04.
And Sims 4 was a bore, even slower than Spore.
Props to Xander for writing the ending line. It's the only line that I kept word for word. It's a simple, self-explanatory, yet harsh line that deems The Sims a one-hit wonder franchise by demolishing the Spore franchise, saying that it's a slow game, you know, it doesn't make anybody want to get into it, it's not replayable, it doesn't have that kind of content to it. And that's important with video games, recognizing that a lot of people see video games in certain categories like replayability, content, how long do I want to play it, does it get annoying, is there too much grinding in it? All of these things are characteristics of a game, and that can either make or break it. So they're saying that Spore was too slow of a game. It felt like the progress was being made way too slow, and they're saying that just like Spore, which was a failure on the same producer's fault, Sims 4 was also a bore. So that is all the lyrics that I wrote. You see, what I did here with the original lyrics is that I looked at what the basis of them was, and then I deleted it. But I kept that idea in my head, and I put it in the rewording cleverly. So you can see, even in the position, the placement of these lines, you can see what they were and why I changed them to what I changed them to. Don't need to speak Simless to Simless word you up. See? I hate that. I absolutely hate when say a line, then put a comma, and then just put an interjection that just rhymes with anything. It's like you could have a whole line beforehand that rhymes with the word yes, and then the whole next line could not rhyme with the word yes at all, but if you put a comma on the end and say yes, it automatically rhymes. I find that to be an easy way out. It's almost childish to do that. Pass the mic. No one would ever socialize with you. It's like you living in a world of furries, since that's all you talk to. Okay. See, this is one of those things where that's the diss. That's the cake. That's what we want to say. There's just nothing on it. Like, that is the bare bones diss. If you skinned a cat, you would have bones. That's what this line is. Just the bones of a cat. You've been overhyped so much, nobody wants you anymore. This isn't worth my time. This isn't worth explaining because this isn't. I've said it so many times in all of my videos. I feel like I'm just forever repeating myself in this section of the video. So I made a demo before anybody recorded. I'm not sure if anybody used it. I know a few people did, but I'm sure people didn't listen to it because it wasn't recreated perfectly. Just take a listen.
Epic Rap Battle Parodies! The Sims! Versus Animal Crossing!
What are these hugging trees trying to rustle our leaves? No need to speak, we use Simlish to you upstream.
Let me query these queers. Arrange your face towards how we feel ya.
Corrupt you like your talent with an ordinance for zoophilia.
We'll do this later, procrastinating to beat 'em, but I could be a better mayor than sleeping in your museum.
We can automata PM.
Let's soar over the beat.
Make their red noses bleed. Turn it over a new leaf.
Welcome to our world Sims. Here we go.
Don't need to pocket your pool ladder to drown you with our flow.
Town tuning out your shitty simulated committees. If you can't dig it, we got tradies that'll keep you in your city.
We got similar roots, but we can rip raw weeds. Watch us trip you up with this is like a pitfall seed.
Smashing Sim City spin-offs till we're blue in the war. Now I suggest you take a seat before we move it to the door.
Our mods are iconic.
Ironic, your failure's handheld.
You're looking through nooks and crannies, just trying to ring a bell. Let's take it to the streets. We'll see who's talking.
Cause you're more less of a threat than an actual Animal Crossing.
We're axe assassins, knapsacking the win.
If you wanna be like us, then I'll make you my Sim.
It's PC first 3D, you're stuck in 04.
Sims 4 was a bore. Even slower than Spore.
Oh, war!
If you want to see what my initial reaction to this video was, here. But about the video, okay, so the announcer. Obviously, Kevin Cross does an impeccable announcer voice. He sounds exactly like Nice Peter. However, I will make the concession that Epic Rap Battle Parodies is supposed to be Epic Rap Battle Parodies, not Epic Rap Battles of History. And I feel that using Nathan as the announcer emphasized the word parody. It really made it feel less serious, which is why I think that they chose Kevin to replace Nathan. However, I feel like Epic Rap Battle Parodies used Nathan's announcer voice as its own individual identity. And now it's just moving closer and closer to Epic Rap Battles of History. And I feel like more people don't like that. But it's not up to me. Obviously, the 3D modeling is very impressive. Nathan looked more of a board sim than a lazy sim. I think Matthew still has a problem with memorizing the words even when he has 8 of them in one battle. He goes like, we're up. He like makes a P sound, like we're axe assassins. You don't have to close your mouth at all during that sentence. For those who are wondering why I wasn't in the credits, I was the omnipresent lyrical director of this. Again, I don't have any say in the final product because it's all up to the recorder on what they do with it, but I can do my best to give a demo to show how it's supposed to be, and if it's not followed, then it's not my fault. Alright, thanks for watching. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you for all those who serve our country. I firmly believe that this battle truly was made something great by Chisel, but you know, who am I to talk?